Everything's good though.
Everyone's all right?
Yes.
Is everyone else home with you?
Just the babies and my boyfriend.
Just the babies and her boyfriend. That's what Karla Garcia told the officer standing in her doorway. Smiling, casual, like everything was normal. But in the basement, hidden in a 40-gallon plastic tote, was the body of her 11-year-old daughter, decomposing. And Karla stood there answering questions like she didn't have a care in the world. This wasn't the first time police knocked on her door. It wouldn't be the last. She had an explanation for everything. A performance crafted over 13 months of living with the remains of her child. But when the truth finally came out, it revealed something far darker than anyone could have imagined. October 8th, 2025, New Britain, Connecticut, police find a plastic storage tote at an abandoned home on Clark Street. Inside, the body of 11-year-old Jacqueline Mimi Torres Garcia. Dead for more than a year, her mother is Karla Garcia, 29 years old. And right now, sitting in a Connecticut detention facility on $5 million bond, she's facing murder charges with special circumstances. The question everyone is asking is simple. How does a mother starve her own child to death? But first, watch how she tried to hide it. The story begins not with Mimi's death, but with the elaborate deception that followed it.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
We got a call. There's a lot of noise coming from your apartment.
They're always called.
Okay.
Everything's good though.
Everyone's all right?
Yes.
Is everyone else home with you?
Just the babies and my boyfriend.
December 2024, 4 months after Mimi died, police respond to a noise complaint at the Farmington, Connecticut apartment where Karla lives with her boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita, and her other children. Watch Karla, pregnant, calm, friendly. They're always calling, she says. Like she's the victim here. Like nosy neighbors are the problem.
Can I speak with him?
Yeah. Babe! Babe! They just want to make sure everything's okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just pregnant. Just moods, you know.
All right.
What else will we get?
Hello?
He's coming up.
Oh, okay. Mind if I come in some letting the heat out?
Huh?
You mind if I come in some letting the heat out?
Sir.
Hey, how's it going? Good. We just got a call. There's a lot of noises and stuff like that.
The officer asks to come inside. Karla lets him in. No hesitation, no nervousness. Just a pregnant woman dealing with apartment drama.
Everyone's okay?
Yeah, my wife's pregnant, so she just be having mood swings. And I be trying to calm her down.
Jonathan backs up her story. Mood swings, pregnancy hormones, nothing unusual. The officer accepts it.
Say hi, baby.
Everything's okay. It's okay. How old are you?
Say 3.
The officer interacts with one of the children, a toddler, smiling, happy. No signs of abuse or neglect visible to the responding officer. Everything appears normal. The child waves at the camera.
3? 2? One more? There you go. Oh, okay. What's your name?
Karla.
The officer takes pictures, documents the visit, standard procedure for a noise complaint where they make contact with residents.
What's your name?
Karla. With a K.
K.
R-L-A.
And Carla, what's your last name?
Garcia.
And your birthday, Carla.
6196.
And sir, what's your name?
Jonathan.
J.O.
J-O-N is what I mean. Jonatan.
And Jonathan, what's your last name?
Nanita. Nanita.
And your birthday.
9/29, 1995.
Okay. How long you guys been staying here?
Almost a year.
The officer takes their information, runs their names. Nothing alarming comes up. This is just another noise complaint call. Routine. But in the basement of that apartment, hidden in a plastic tote, is Mimi's body.
Things are good.
Yeah.
Sometimes the walls are, you live in apartments, walls
Yeah,
are
we
thin
always
sometimes.
hear
And it's something for
I'm
us.
planning on moving.
Okay.
We're actually moving.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because of that.
It's not the first time police have been called. The officer notes this, but Karla has an explanation ready.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes with apartments, you really can't choose your neighbors, right? So if someone is living one way, someone lives another way, and sometimes it just clashes.
They're moving because of the neighbors, because of the complaints, because people keep calling police on them. That's the story, and the officer accepts it.
By the way, I have a son. Son lives upstairs. He's 1. Oh, he just turned 2. I'm sorry. Keep you guys busy. Oh, yeah.
You guys got a place you're ready to go to?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. You really got yeah.
It's better. Well, we came from New Britain. It's better over there because we don't have no complaints at all.
Yeah, it's a little bit different area. People are a little less likely to want to call for some noise, stuff like that.
It's better over there. That's how Karla describes New Britain. Better because there are fewer complaints, fewer police calls, fewer people asking questions, less scrutiny. She's already thinking about how to avoid detection in the next place. The officer leaves. The call is closed, and Karla and Jonathan go back to their lives with a decomposing body in their basement. The smell becomes so overwhelming that they have to stay in hotels, with friends, anywhere but that house. But they never report Mimi missing. They never call police. They never tell anyone what happened. Instead, they collect benefits. From September 2024 through May 2025, and Karla Garcia continued to receive SNAP benefits, food stamps, for Mimi. She signed renewal forms in January and August 2025, falsely claiming Mimi was still alive, still living in the household, still needing food. Think about that. 8 months of fraud. 8 months of collecting money for a child she knew was dead in her basement. Money meant to feed a child who had literally been starved to death. The forms Karla signed claimed a household of 6 people: herself, Jonathan, Mimi, and 3 other children. But only 5 people were alive. Only 4 children were actually being fed. And Karla signed those documents knowing exactly what she was doing. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't a mistake. This was calculated fraud designed to maximize benefits while concealing a murder. Jonathan used the same EBT card. He knew. They both knew. And they both profited from Mimi's death. But the deception goes deeper. January 2025. The Connecticut Department of Children and Families opens an investigation after receiving a report about bruising on one of Karla's other children. The social worker assigned to the case asks to see all the children, including Mimi. Karla has a ready answer. Mimi is visiting an aunt in Virginia. She'll be back soon. The social worker accepts this explanation at first. But as weeks pass and Mimi doesn't return, DCF presses harder. They need to see her, to verify she's okay. So Karla orchestrates something extraordinary. February 14th, 2025, Valentine's Day. A young woman named Jacqueline Goulet, a distant relative, appears on a Zoom call with DCF social worker Shannon Hargrove. She pretends to be Mimi. She waves at the camera, answers basic questions. The social worker, conducting the interview remotely because Karla claimed Mimi was out of state, accepts the impersonation as legitimate. DCF closes the case in March 2025. But here's what the social worker didn't know. Jacqueline Goulet had no idea Mimi was dead. Karla told her this was just to help with a DCF issue. A formality, nothing serious. And the woman on the Zoom call? She was 21 or 22 years old. Not 11, but the deception worked. The social worker never questioned the age discrepancy, never insisted on seeing Mimi in person despite DCF protocol requiring face-to-face contact for welfare checks, never verified that the person on camera was actually the child in question. A retired DCF worker later called this a clear violation of long-standing protocol. The statement was damning. With all my years of experience, this never would have been accepted. A Zoom call to identify a child would have never been accepted. It has always been physical contact with that child. But DCF defended the decision, saying the case was treated differently because Karla claimed Mimi was out of state. The social worker involved, Shannon Hargrove, has not been disciplined. No administrative action has been taken. And Karla? She walked away from that Zoom call knowing she'd beaten the system. She'd orchestrated a fraud so brazen, so audacious that even the agency specifically designed to protect children had been fooled. Think about what that means. DCF opened an investigation because of concerns about one of Karla's children. They asked to see all the children, including Mimi. And instead of finding the truth, that Mimi had been dead for 5 months, they accepted a Zoom call impersonation and closed the case. Meanwhile, Mimi's body continued to decompose in that basement. Now let's go back to when Mimi was still alive, back to the months that led to her death. June 24th, 2024, Karla Garcia is granted sole custody of Mimi and one of her siblings in family court. This comes after a complex custody history where Mimi had been placed with a paternal relative under DCF guardianship after her birth in 2013. She was reunified with Karla in May 2022 after court review. For 2 years, things seemed stable. DCF investigations found no neglect. The children attended school and medical appointments. But in the summer of 2024, something changed. July 2024, Karla emails Mimi's school about homeschooling plans. August 26, 2024, the first day of 6th grade. Karla withdraws Mimi from New Britain Public Schools and files a homeschooling notice. This is crucial. By removing Mimi from school, Karla eliminates the mandatory reporters, teachers, counselors, nurses who might have noticed something was wrong. Around this same time, Karla's sister Karla Garcia moves in with the family intermittently, and what Jacqueline witnesses is horrifying. According to police interviews, Jacqueline saw Karla and Jonathan withhold food from Mimi as punishment. She saw them restrain Mimi with zip ties. She heard them justify it by saying Mimi was bad or disrespectful. Jacqueline took a photograph that would later become key evidence. It shows Mimi restrained with zip ties. The image documents the abuse in a way that no testimony alone could convey. But Jacqueline didn't call police, didn't call DCF, didn't try to help Mimi escape. She just watched and took a picture. And Jacqueline later told police something even more chilling. She knew Mimi was going to die. Not suspected, not feared, knew. She saw the escalation. She saw the starvation. She saw a child being systematically destroyed. And she did nothing to stop it. This is part of why Jacqueline faces her own criminal charges, not just for witnessing abuse, but for participating in the unlawful restraint and cruelty, for being complicit in Mimi's suffering. September 19th, 2024. According to Karla's later statement to police, this is the day Mimi died. Karla tells her sister the same day. By this point, Mimi had reportedly been denied food for about 2 weeks. Some statements from Karla suggest she stopped feeding Mimi as early as 3 months before her death. Let that sink in. 2 weeks minimum, possibly 3 months, of a mother deliberately starving her 11-year-old daughter. Imagine what those final days were like for Mimi. The hunger, the weakness, the confusion about why her mother wouldn't feed her, the pleading that must have happened, the desperation, an 11-year-old child trapped in a home with the people who should have protected her, watching them eat, watching her younger siblings eat, knowing food existed in that house, but being denied access to it as punishment for being bad or disrespectful. What could an 11-year-old possibly do to deserve starvation? What behavior justifies deliberately withholding food until a child dies? But Karla and Jonathan don't call 911. They don't report a death. They don't notify anyone. Instead, they put Mimi's body in a 40-gallon plastic tote. They take it to the basement. They pour ammonia to mask the smell. And they go on with their lives. No funeral, no burial, no recognition that this child ever existed. Just a body in a plastic container, hidden in the basement like garbage. September 28, 2024. Police respond to a noise complaint at the Farmington home. They make no contact with the family. They don't know that just days earlier, a child died in that home. The months that follow are a masterclass in deception. Karla gives birth to her 5th child in January 2025. She continues to parent her other children. She files paperwork. She talks to DCF. She conducts that Zoom call impersonation. She moves homes in March, taking the body with her. That's when everything unravels. October 8, 2025. Police discover Mimi's remains, but Karla isn't arrested immediately. First, they bring her in for questioning.
I just want to make you aware that you're not under arrest.
I know I'm not under arrest.
Okay.
She denies everything, claims she had nothing to do with it. The police let her go, but they're building their case, waiting for the autopsy results, gathering evidence. 4 days later, October 12, 2025, officers return to Karla's home with arrest warrants.
We can check, right?
Is Jacqueline here? Your sister's here? Where is she?
Inside.
Okay, just step right here. Step right over here.
Watch the arrest unfold.
Got her.
Officers are calm but firm. They know what they're dealing with now.
For what? Car.
We'll explain.
Can you grab my phone?
Yeah, we can grab your phone.
It's in the room.
For what? Jacqueline asks, as if she doesn't know, as if she didn't witness the abuse, didn't take the photograph, didn't tell police I knew Mimi was going to die.
Alright, and I'm gonna open the door for you.
The officers search the apartment methodically, checking rooms, securing the scene, making sure no evidence is destroyed.
Somebody took the dogs?
Yeah,
She came that night?
Hell yeah, she was.
Did she bring it back to the...
Yeah, she did.
They're dealing with dogs, children. The logistics of executing arrest warrants in a home with multiple people present.
Yeah.
You got shoes on.
Carla's in the room.
Wait, it's gonna be cold,
The officers are professional, making sure Karla has shoes, explaining it's cold outside. Standard procedure even when arresting someone for murder.
Can I get up?
What do you need?
My sweater.
Where the f is my Nikes?
I have some in my car. Oh, wait.
This is what she is concerned about. Her Nikes, her shoes, not her dead daughter, not the 13 months of lies, not the fact that she's being arrested for murder, her footwear.
Whose phone is that?
That's my friend's phone. He left it. It's not on that bureau.
Check in the closet.
She's asking about phones, about belongings, practical concerns, as if this is just another inconvenience, another problem to manage.
Walking and marking it.
No, we're gonna transport them to the real
Did you let patrol know so they're aware or no?
Check, where's your phone at?
In my pocket.
They didn't have
Right here?
Yeah.
All right, here we
In the
go.
front.
What?
In the front.
You want to zip that up?
The officers coordinate. Transport is arranged. Both women are taken into custody. The next day, October 13th, Jonathan Nanita is arrested. The autopsy results come back in January 2026, and they tell a story that's impossible to deny. Jacqueline Torres Garcia weighed 27 pounds when she died. Ames, she was 4 feet 8 inches tall. At 11 years old, a child that height should weigh between 70 and 100 pounds. 27 pounds. For context, that's the weight of an average 2-year-old. Mimi was 11, nearly 12, and she weighed what a toddler weighs. The autopsy showed extreme emaciation, near total absence of body fat, severe muscle atrophy. Her body had consumed itself trying to survive, breaking down muscle tissue for energy, shutting down non-essential functions to preserve the vital organs for as long as possible. The medical examiner found a single blueberry in her stomach. That was all. One blueberry. The last thing Mimi ate before she died. Think about that image. An 11-year-old child so desperate for food that a single blueberry was all she had. And even that wasn't enough to save her. The cause of death: fatal child abuse with starvation. Homicide via maltreatment and neglect. Not accidental, not sudden. Homicide: intentional killing through prolonged deprivation and abuse. Toxicology showed amphetamines in her system, not prescribed to her, and an antihistamine. The amphetamines could have come from medication given to her or from illicit drugs in the environment, but they weren't her prescription. They weren't meant for an 11-year-old child. No recent fractures appeared on full-body x-rays. No major external injuries could be determined given the advanced state of decomposition. But the starvation was undeniable. Documented. Proven beyond any doubt. October 12, 2025. Karla Garcia is arrested. So is Jacqueline Garcia. The next day, Jonathan Nanita is taken into custody. The charges are staggering. On Karla Garcia faces murder with special circumstances, conspiracy to commit murder with special circumstances, risk of injury to a minor first-degree unlawful restraint, intentional cruelty to a child under 19, tampering with physical evidence, improper disposal of a dead body, first-degree larceny, snap fraud. False statements. Jonathan Nanita faces similar murder charges plus additional counts for handling the body. His palm print was found on the tote. Jacqueline Garcia faces intentional cruelty to a child and first-degree unlawful restraint for witnessing the abuse and doing nothing. October 14th, 2025. Bond hearing.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Karla Garcia, she is 29 years old, currently resides in New Britain. She is a lifelong resident of the state of Connecticut. Not currently employed. Some high school education reported to our office. No substance use issues, but some mental health issues have been reported. In regards to cases, no pending matters, Your Honor. Last conviction was April 2019, again out of New Britain, assault with third degree. She was placed on 1 year suspended, 2 years probation. No other criminal record found for Ms. Garcia. In regards to this matter, bond was set at $5 million. That
$5 million, cash or surety.
bond appears appropriate. I recommend that bond remain as set.
The judge lists the facts, the circumstances, the charges, and sets bond at one of the highest levels possible under Connecticut law.
Facts and circumstances of the case, the nature of the charges, so he's asking that bond remain as set at $5 million. million. State is asking for special conditions of no contact with Jonathan Nanita or Jacqueline Garcia, no contact with NG, date of birth April 25th, 2014, JN, date of birth April 2nd, 2021, MN, date of birth September 22nd, 2022, and AN, date of birth January 7th, 2025.
No contact with her co-defendants. On to no contact with her surviving children. Bond posted only at court. Karla Garcia pleads not guilty.
Your Honor, Ms. Garcia wishes to waive the hearing and probable cause.
Okay. So, Ms. Garcia, I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? You understand that because you are charged with murder with special circumstances, you'd be entitled to what's called a probable cause hearing. It's a hearing at which the state would have to present evidence to the court to justify the continuation of these charges. You understand that?
Yes.
She waives her probable cause hearing, the hearing where the state would have to present evidence to justify continuing the charges. She doesn't want that evidence aired publicly yet.
Attorney Manville tells me that you wish to waive that hearing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, have you had enough time to talk to Attorney Manville about that decision? Yes. And is anybody forcing you or making you make this decision?
No.
You waiving this of your own free will?
Yes.
Of her own free will. The same woman who exercised her free will to starve her daughter, to hide her body, to lie to investigators, to impersonate her on a Zoom call, to collect benefits in her name. The case moves forward. At the time of this recording, Karla Garcia remains in custody at a Connecticut Department of Correction facility. Likely housed at York Correctional Institution in Niantic, Connecticut's primary women's prison, bond remains at $5 million. No successful motions for reduction, no release, no bail posted. And the next court date is March 13th, 2026 for the murder case. Discovery continues. The case file is described as voluminous. Thousands of pages of interviews, forensics, DCF files, body cam footage, autopsy reports, phone records, snap documentation, and more. The evidence against Karla is overwhelming. Her own statements to police, which shifted and changed as investigators pressed her. Jacqueline's eyewitness testimony about the zip ties, the food deprivation, the abuse. The photograph Jacqueline took showing Mimi restrained. The autopsy confirming starvation with medical precision. 27 pounds, extreme emaciation, a single blueberry in the stomach. The snap fraud documented in renewal forms she signed with her own hand, claiming Mimi was alive and in the household months after her death. He booked the orchestrated Zoom call where a young adult impersonated an 11-year-old child, fooling a DCF social worker. 13 months of hiding a body while living a seemingly normal life. Moving homes, giving birth to another child, interacting with police, signing government forms. If convicted on the murder with special circumstances charge, Karla Garcia faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. This is the most serious charge under Connecticut law. And given the facts, prolonged starvation of a child, elaborate concealment, ongoing fraud, prosecutors have built a case that appears nearly impossible to defend against. The defense strategy so far has focused on voluminous discovery review and time delays. Karla's attorney has requested continuances, has asked for excludable time, has waived Karla's appearance at hearings. But no substantial defense theory has emerged publicly. Can they blame Jonathan entirely? Difficult, given Karla's own statements admitting her role in the starvation. Can they argue mental illness? Possible, but Karla was functional enough to orchestrate complex deceptions over 13 months. Can they claim accident? The autopsy rules that out definitively. The most likely outcome, according to legal observers, is either a trial resulting in conviction or a plea deal for a lesser charge in exchange for avoiding life without parole. But given the special circumstances murder charge and the child victim, any plea would still result in decades in prison. But the legal consequences aren't the only fallout. A $100 million wrongful death lawsuit has been filed against DCF on behalf of Mimi's estate. The lawsuit argues that DCF failed to protect Mimi despite multiple red flags. The complaints began before Mimi died, DCF investigations that found no concerns. The November 2022 reunification that returned Mimi to Karla's custody. The failure to monitor more closely given Karla's 2019 assault conviction and Jacqueline's 2022 child abuse case. And then after Mimi's death, the acceptance of a Zoom call impersonation instead of requiring face-to-face contact. The closing of the investigation without ever physically verifying that Mimi was alive and safe. The lawsuit alleges negligence, failure to follow protocol, and systemic failures that cost Mimi her life. Whether it succeeds or not, it has already triggered legislative action. Lawmakers have referenced Mimi's case repeatedly in 2026 legislative sessions. The failure is seen as systemic, not just individual, and the reforms aim to ensure that no other child slips through the cracks the way Mimi did. The system failed Mimi, but most of all, her mother chose to destroy her. Justice may come in a courtroom verdict, but for Mimi, it comes too late.